I've been married to Jessica for over 20 years, but nothing prepared me for the sting of Sophia's wedding day. She ignored me completely, replacing me with James, her biological father, for every moment that mattered. And when it came time to pay, I was already gone. I remember the first time I met Sophia. She was 7 then, a bright-eyed little girl clutching Jessica's hand as they walked toward me in the park. She was chasing a paper airplane, laughing, that laugh of hers pure and infectious, like sunlight breaking through clouds. In that moment, I knew they were my future. Jessica never hid the truth. James was unreliable, a ghost who drifted in and out of Sophia's life. He'd call on birthdays, drop off some cheap gift, then vanish again. Empty promises were his specialty. But I was there. Every school play, every scraped knee, every late-night homework session, I was there. And still, when she walked down the aisle, it was James who held her arm, not me. Sophia's face would light up whenever he walked in. And though Jessica tried to temper her excitement, I could see the hope in her eyes. When Jessica and I grew serious, she was up front. Sophia came first. I understood, and I never questioned it. What I didn't expect was how fiercely my heart would cling to that little girl. It didn't happen all at once, but slowly, irreversibly, every mumbled, "I love you, Dad," every crayon-scrawled picture with my name misspelled, chipped away at me until I was hers. I steadied her bike through wobbles and crashes, wiped her tears when her knees were raw. I held her close in the dead of night, her small body burning up, while Jessica fumbled for the thermometer. And when she stood on that stage for her first recital, voice trembling, I whispered the words with her, the poem we'd practiced until she could say it in her sleep. The moment she stepped onto the stage, her hands shook behind the curtain. Then she found me in the crowd, just like always, searching for that quiet reassurance that I wouldn't let her down. And I never did. James, though, he was just noise. Empty words, hollow promises. Next summer we'll go to the beach. I'll get you that bike. But summer came and went, and the bike never appeared. I was the one who held Sophia when she cried, who wiped her tears and told her it would be okay. I never wanted her to stop believing in him, even if he didn't deserve it. As the years passed, she became my whole world. School meetings, graduation dress shopping, every game from the sidelines. I was there. She called me Dad, and I knew she meant it. Blood didn't matter. But then, what came next shattered me. The moment Sophia left for college, I gave her everything I could. Tuition, books, even the rent for her tiny apartment. It wasn't easy, but I never hesitated. She deserved the chances I never had. James, as usual, was unreliable. He'd call occasionally with empty words. "Your dad is proud of you." But he never sent a dime, never showed up when it mattered. Then at graduation, she rushed into my arms, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, Dad, for everything. I couldn't have done it without you." That made every struggle worth it. So when she told me she was marrying Daniel, my heart swelled. I pictured walking her down the aisle, that simple, sacred moment, proof of all we'd fought for together. I always thought, no, I knew that honor would be mine. How could it not? I was there for every single moment, every milestone, every late-night call when she needed advice. The weeks before the wedding were a blur of excitement, Sophia gushing about her dress, the flowers, the music. And me? I gave without hesitation, paid for part of the reception, chipped in for the dress, covered unexpected costs, not because I wanted praise, but because I wanted to matter, to be more than just another guest. Then the invitation came. I opened it, heart already swelling, searching for my name in some small, sacred space. But it wasn't there, just another name in a sea of formal print. And then James. James would walk her down the aisle. The sting of it was sharp, quiet, and deep. I never said it out loud, but I had assumed. And that was my mistake. At first, I thought it must have been a misunderstanding, some slip of the tongue, a thoughtless oversight. But when I asked her, her words cut deeper than I could have imagined. There's only one biological father, and I've always wanted to give him this moment. Just like that. No hesitation. No regret. The weight of it crushed me. Years of love, years of being there, of quiet sacrifices, of showing up when no one else did, meant nothing. And the worst part? The way she said it. So casual, so effortless, like the idea of choosing me had never even flickered through her mind. Her wedding day should have been beautiful. Instead, it was one of the loneliest, most humiliating moments of my life. I wore a suit I'd had tailored just for this. Arrived early, sat among the guests like any other face in the crowd. I watched as James walked Sophia down the aisle, every eye on them. Then came the speeches. I waited, foolishly hoping anyone would say my name, that someone would remember me. No one did. I was invisible. The moment Sophia walked down the aisle on James's arm, something inside me shattered. The part of me that had always given too much, loved too hard, just stopped. I didn't realize it then, but that was the tipping point, the beginning of an irreversible shift. She was radiant, glowing like every bride should, but for me, the sight was laced with a quiet, aching bitterness. Not because I didn't want her happiness, but because in that instant it hit me. I was nothing to her. Replaceable, forgotten. A week later, they left for their honeymoon, some luxury beachfront resort, all pristine views and five-star indulgence. I never asked for details. Couldn't bear to hear about the trip that sealed the end of us. I wasn't prepared for the call when Sophia got back. She barely stepped through the door before dialing my number, her voice bright, effortless, like the past few months had never happened. She rambled about the turquoise water, the candlelit dinner Daniel had arranged by the shore, details that should have been tender, but just twisted inside me. I stayed quiet, my replies clipped, forcing myself to stay steady. Then it came, the shift I should have braced for. "Dad," she said, and that single word hit harder than I wanted to admit. "I need a favor." There were unexpected honeymoon expenses, she explained, and they were running tight. Could I help? Just like that. No hesitation, no doubt. Just the quiet confidence that I'd say yes. Again. The breath left me. After everything, she still assumed I'd open my wallet without question. I was always the one who fixed things, who provided, who gave without hesitation, who bled myself dry for her. But this time something inside me snapped. Maybe it was pride, cracked and aching. Maybe it was the slow erosion of being taken for granted, year after year. Whatever it was, the words came out before I could stop them. "I'm sorry, Sophia," I said, my voice steady even as my pulse roared in my ears. "I can't help you this time." The silence on the other end was thick, suffocating. I could picture her face, the shock, the hurt. "But you've always helped before," she finally said, her voice small, disbelieving. I swallowed hard. "Maybe you should ask James," I said, the name bitter on my tongue. "He's your real father, isn't he? Maybe he can help." Another silence, longer this time. Then just a whisper. "I understand." The line went dead. No fight, no fury, just a quiet surrender that left me hollow, staring at the phone like it had taken something from me I'd never get back. Jessica's words hit me like a slap. "You're cruel," she said, her voice sharp with disbelief. "How can you just walk away from Sophia when she needs you?" I swallowed the ache in my throat. "It's not about the money, Jessica. It's about respect." My voice cracked, raw with the weight of 2 decades. 20 years. I was there for her for 20 years, and when she finally had the chance to show she cared, she acted like none of it mattered. I can't keep being her last resort, only good enough when she's desperate. Jessica stared at me, uncomprehending. To her, family was everything, even when that family had spent years breaking promises. The silence between us grew heavy, suffocating. Something fractured that day, a quiet, irreversible shift. An invisible wall rose where there had only ever been open arms. Sophia never reached out. And then Jessica told me Daniel was furious, accusing me of leaving Sophia when she needed me most. The hurt coiled tighter, deeper. No one seemed to understand. I was the one who'd been left behind long before. James was gone, just like that. No calls, no messages, nothing. Sophia was finally seeing him for what he was. But that didn't erase what she'd done to me, how she'd made me feel. That night, sitting alone in the living room, I kept replaying it all. Every moment I'd been there for her, every time she'd smiled and called me Dad. And then it hit me. I'd always thought that word meant something, like I'd earned it, like it was proof I belonged in her life. But now I wonder if it was just a word to her, something she threw around when it suited her. I don't know if I'll ever get past this. But one thing's clear, this time I'm done giving. Because the truth is, I've got nothing left. Update, 2 months. Since the wedding, I've tried to keep my distance. But the drama won't let me go. Jessica won't stop. Always pushing, always trying to mend things between Sophia and me. Her eyes bore into me, heavy with disappointment and quiet begging. Like she's waiting for me to cave and become the old version of myself. The one who never refused, never held his ground. But she doesn't get it. Or maybe she just won't admit it. That day changed something in me, broke something. I can't go back. After the call, when I finally said no to paying for Sophia's honeymoon, She vanished from my life. No texts, no calls. At first, it stung. Now, it's a relief. No more thinly veiled requests for money, no more pretending. But what did surprise me, what twisted the knife just a little deeper, was how fast her marriage started crumbling. Jessica never stopped checking in on Sophia, and one evening over dinner, she brought it up like it was just another topic. Only I could hear the weight behind her words. Sophia and Daniel are in a bad way, she said, pushing her food around her plate. Daniel got laid off. They can barely make rent. I kept chewing, my jaw tight. I knew what was coming. Jessica didn't wait. We should help them, she insisted, eyes pleading. She's still our daughter. I set my fork down, slow and deliberate, and exhaled. I'm not her father anymore, Jessica. That's James now. Sophia made that clear. If she needs something, she can go to him. Jessica's face twisted like I'd struck her. How can you say that? She whispered. She's always relied on you. You can't just walk away? I laughed, sharp, hollow. Walk away? You think I walked away? That wedding was the coldest thing she's ever done to me. It hit me like a punch to the gut. Cold, invisible, like those 20 years I spent being the one who showed up for her meant nothing. If James gets to be her father for the milestones, then he can damn well be there for the hard parts too. That was it. Jessica slammed her plate into the sink and stormed off. That night we lay in bed, backs turned, the silence between us thick with hurt. It was eating at us, tearing something between us, and I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't keep giving everything and getting nothing back. But Sophia, of course, didn't stay silent for long. Not directly, though. A week later, Daniel's message landed in my phone like a weight. Hey, it's Daniel, Sophia's husband. I need to talk to you about something important. Do you have time? The words sat heavy on my screen, unanswered. I read them again, then again, each time feeling that familiar twist in my gut. Money. It was always about money. But I went anyway. What else was there to do? The cafe was quiet, the kind of place where silence feels louder than noise. Daniel was already there, foot tapping under the table, eyes fixed on a cold cup of coffee. I slid into the seat across from him, saying nothing, letting the weight of everything unsaid press between us. Thanks for coming, he muttered, the words hollow, like he was reciting a script. No warmth, just necessity. Then the inevitable. I know things are tense with Sophia, but we're in a bad spot. We thought maybe you could help. I didn't flinch. I already knew. Still, I asked, what do you need? As if hearing him say it out loud would make it hurt less. It didn't. Daniel's hands trembled slightly as he gripped his coffee cup, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Sophia and we haven't caught a break since the honeymoon. And now, with me losing my job, he swallowed hard. If we don't come up with rent in 3 weeks, we're out. The weight of his words settled between us, raw and suffocating. I let the silence stretch before asking, my tone too calm, have you tried James? His head jerked up, confusion flickering in his eyes. James? No. Sophia thought, she thought you'd help. You always have. A sharp, humorless laugh escaped me. Yeah, I said, leaning in, my voice low and tight. I always have. But when it mattered, she chose him. So no, Daniel, not this time. Maybe James should finally step up for once. Daniel's voice cracked with desperation as he pleaded. This wasn't just about Sophia, he said. It was about him too. But I couldn't listen anymore. My hand cut through the air between us. We're done, I said, the words heavy and final. I wish you both well, but I won't keep fixing this for you. I stood, leaving him there, his coffee untouched, his anger simmering. Jessica was waiting when I got home. She didn't ask. She already knew. The silence between us said everything. She could see I'd refused. That was weeks ago. Since then, Sophia and Daniel have given up. Jessica still carries the weight of it, though she stopped pressing me. But I know better. This isn't over. When a castle falls, the wreckage doesn't settle all at once. 5 months since the wedding, and somehow in the quiet of this distance, I found a kind of freedom I didn't expect. Staying out of Sophia and James's mess wasn't easy. Jessica's resentment lingers, sharp and unspoken, in every glance she throws my way. She still thinks I betrayed her, no matter how many times I've tried to make her see this was never about money, just basic respect. But she doesn't get it, or maybe she just won't. And yet, for the first time in years, I'm not the one holding everything together. The weight is gone, and I can breathe. I'm finally carving out space for myself again, returning to old hobbies like woodworking, reconnecting with friends, reclaiming pieces of life I'd let slip away for too long. At first, guilt gnawed at me for daring to prioritize my own peace. But now I understand. This isn't selfish. It's survival. Yet the chaos refuses to fade. Jessica called a few weeks ago, her voice tight with anger, to tell me Sophia and Daniel had been evicted. They couldn't scrape together enough to cover the back rent, and their landlord had finally had enough. Now they're crammed into Daniel's mother's tiny apartment, a space barely big enough for one, let alone a married couple. Jessica's fury crackled through the phone. "This wouldn't have happened if you'd helped them," she spat, that old familiar blame sharp in her words. Like I was the one who owed them a lifeline. Like my absence was the reason they fell. I didn't respond. Nothing I said would change anything. Jessica would always blame me for whatever pain Sophia carried. But the truth? I know I did right by her. Sophia made her choice. She pushed me away, and now she's living with the fallout. The bitter twist? Jessica doesn't see the real irony here. James, the golden boy, the one Sophia put on a pedestal, hasn't shown up for her. Not once. He didn't even answer when she reached out. Typical. His whole life he's been flaky, unreliable. But now when she needs him, silence. Funny how that works. Jessica was standing at the stove, stirring something in a pan, when she dropped it on me. Casual, like she was just mentioning the weather. Sophia says James promised to help her find a new place, but he still hasn't done it. Says he's waiting for his finances to stabilize. My stomach twisted. I just stared at her for a second, then let out a sharp, humorless laugh. And she still believes him. After all the times he's let her down, she still trusts him? My voice wasn't angry, just hollow with disbelief. Jessica stopped stirring. Her shoulders slumped. "He's her father," she murmured, like that was supposed to make it okay. The words settled between us, heavy. I swallowed hard. All these years I'd tried to be what James wasn't. Steady, reliable. But right then, I wondered if any of it had even mattered. Maybe to her, blood always meant more than effort. Maybe I wasn't fighting against James, just the fact that he was her son. A week ago, Sophia finally reached out. Not for money, surprisingly. Just a message asking to meet, saying she wanted to talk. I hesitated for hours before replying, but curiosity gnawed at me until I gave in. We met at the park we used to visit when she was small. She was already there, perched on a bench, fingers twisting in her lap. When I got close, she stood and hugged me, stiff, uncertain, like she wasn't sure she wanted to. I let it happen, out of habit, out of courtesy. Then we sat, the silence between us thick and heavy. She began to speak, but not about why she'd called me there. Not yet. Instead, the words spilled out about Daniel's mother, the suffocating tension in her marriage, how she ached for space that was hers alone. I let her talk, didn't interrupt. She needed this. The weight in her voice told me she'd been carrying it for too long. And then finally she reached it, the reason. "Dad," she said. That word, once so warm, now sat cold between us. "I know I've disappointed you. The wedding, I didn't realize how much it hurt you until it was already done." My chest tightened. Disbelief, sadness, the quiet burn of old resentment, all of it tangled inside me. She drew a shaky breath before whispering, "I'm sorry. For all of it. I never meant to make you feel replaced." "But you did," I said, my voice steady but aching. "Not just at the wedding, Sophia. Every time you brushed off what I did for you. Every time you pretended James was something he wasn't. You say you didn't want me to feel replaced. But the truth is, I don't think I ever really had a place with you to begin with." She looked down, shaken. Maybe she thought I'd just take her apology and slip back into the way things were. But that was gone now. Some cracks run too deep to fix. We didn't talk much after that. When we said goodbye, she murmured that she hoped with time we could rebuild. I stayed silent. Not because I didn't want that, but because I didn't know if it could ever really happen. Sophia didn't just break my heart, she destroyed my trust in her. And now there's a new update. I did something unforgivable, something neither Jessica nor Sophia will ever let me live down. Maybe I don't deserve their forgiveness. Maybe I shouldn't even ask. For a year now, ever since the wedding, my relationship with Jessica has been unraveling, piece by painful piece. It started with silence, a slow drift into emotional distance. But what we have now is worse, an emptiness so deep it feels irreversible. The love we had, the bond, even the basic respect we once shared, it's all gone. We still live under the same roof, but we're strangers. Since the wedding, there's been no closeness, no warmth. At first, I told myself it was just stress, that things would get better. But the months dragged on, and I finally saw the truth. Jessica wasn't just distant. She was angry, resentful. And I don't know how to fix any of it. The weight of Sophia's suffering crushed us. Jessica held me responsible, and that blame poisoned everything. Our marriage, once alive with late-night talks and shared laughter, withered into silence. Every time I reached for her, she recoiled, brick by brick, building a wall I couldn't climb. And then, in that hollow space between us, Sophie appeared. Jessica's best friend, Sophia's fun aunt, always there with lavish gifts and easy laughter. But after the wedding, something shifted. The calls came more often, the check-ins more personal. At first, I thought she was trying to mend what Jessica and I had broken. But soon I knew it wasn't about fixing us. It was about something else entirely. Sophie was the only one who really heard me. She didn't just listen. She told me the truth I'd been desperate for. That I wasn't crazy, that my pain mattered, that Jessica had been cruel, that none of this was fair. For the first time in so long, I didn't feel like the monster in my own story. Our talks became my lifeline, something real in the middle of all the wreckage. It wasn't planned, nothing ever is, just quiet, inevitable, like leaves carried by the river. That night, after hours of raw, aching words, we sat in silence, just looking at each other. I'd laid it all bare, how invisible I felt in my own home, how Jessica's warmth had turned to ice, how everything inside me was breaking. Sophie's hand suddenly gripped mine, and her words hit me like a punch to the chest. You deserve to be happy, and they aren't letting you. I don't know what came over me. Maybe the rawness in her voice, maybe the way her eyes held mine. But before I could think, I was kissing her, and she kissed me back. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I stayed with Sophie, hours slipping away as we talked, laughed, and finally let everything we'd buried for months spill out. For the first time in so long, I felt seen, wanted, understood. I know this is wrong, but I don't regret it. Sophie has become my escape, the one person who truly sees me. With her, I found something I lost with Jessica, a real aching connection. Jessica watches me, always watching, when I come home late or step outside to take a call. She knows. I can feel it in the weight of her silence, the way her eyes linger just a second too long. But she hasn't said anything yet. Not to me. And Sophie? She carries the guilt heavy in her chest, same as I do, yet neither of us would take it back. This can't last. I know that. The moment Jessica finds out, everything shatters. There's no fixing it. But for now, in this fragile, stolen space, I don't feel so alone. Final update, 2 years later, and it still haunts me like a storm that passed but left the ground cracked. I've rebuilt, or tried to. Some wounds don't heal right. Jessica and Sophia, gone. They cut me out completely, and in a twisted way, it was a relief. The confession came spilling out before I could stop it. Jessica didn't even let me speak first. She stood there trembling, her voice raw. What is this? I've seen the way you've changed. Tell me the truth, and I did. Sophie and I, that was all it took. Jessica was there for me when no one else was. We'd built something real, or so I thought. Then came the words that still claw at me, sharp as broken glass. So all of it, everything we built meant nothing to you? Her face twisted, first shock, then fury. I stood frozen, choking on silence. Every choice I'd made was to hold us together, and yet I'd shattered us anyway. Jessica, I managed, my voice cracking. While you were trying to save Sophia, I lost myself. And you didn't even see it. She screamed then, raw and ragged with pain. What you've done is unforgivable. How could you destroy our family? Then Sophia walked in. She already knew. Her voice was cold, hollow. I thought you were better than this. But you never cared, did you? You just wanted to be the hero. Look what you've done. My hands shook. That's not true, I whispered. You pushed me away. You chose James. You needed me, and I was always there to fix it. But when I gave you everything, it was never enough, was it? Jessica's voice cracked with fury. That doesn't justify this betrayal. Sophia, let's go. Just like that, they told me to leave, to never reach out again. The pain was sharp, but beneath it, relief settled in. There was nothing left to fight for. I moved into a cramped apartment, the divorce dragging on, draining me. But the real agony wasn't the legal mess. It was watching the life I'd built crumble. Through it all, Sophie stayed. She was my comfort, my reason to keep going. She never excused my mistakes, but she never turned her back on me either. Then months later, as I was finally starting to rebuild, a message from Sophia cut through the silence. Dad, I know I hurt you. I know I failed you. But you will always be my father. I didn't reply. The wounds were still too raw, too deep. "Nah, I'm sorry," you said. "I know things will never be the same, but I will always love you. Maybe one day I'll find peace, but not today. Today I keep moving, forward, away, through the ache of what I've left behind."